Roswell, Georgia is certainly one of Atlanta's best suburbs, so let's take a look at what it's like to live in Roswell, Georgia. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Victor. I'm a local real estate agent here in Atlanta, and I actually live about 10 minutes from Roswell. My family and I love to hang out in Roswell, especially the downtown part of Roswell. So let's take a look at some of the good and the bad of Roswell, Georgia, and then we'll also take a look at some of the neighborhoods in Roswell. Roswell, Georgia is located about 20 minutes north of the city of Atlanta and about 30 minutes from the middle of Atlanta, around Midtown or the downtown area. Some of the main roads that go through the city of Roswell are Highway 400 and Highway 9. Highway 400 is like a 3 or 4 lane highway that looks a lot like an interstate. So that's really the main road that people use to commute from Roswell to Atlanta. And then Highway 9 is a smaller road, maybe 1 or 2 lanes in some places, but it's also one of the roads that people use to commute from Roswell to Atlanta, as they both run parallel north and south from Atlanta up as far north as Forsyth County. Roswell has about 92,000 people and has the typical suburban feel that you find in many of the other cities around Metro Atlanta. From Marietta, Roswell is only about 15 minutes, and from the city of Alpharetta, Roswell is just south of Alpharetta, about 5 to 10 minutes. So it's right there in the middle of like the northern section of Metro Atlanta. Roswell is in Fulton County, which also has cities like Alpharetta, Milton, also the city of Atlanta. And so Roswell is not like the city of Atlanta, though. It has that suburban feel, so lots of neighborhoods, lots of shopping here and there. You're certainly going to be able to find a Target in the city of Roswell, also a Whole Foods. Those are really the kind of shopping that you're going to see in Roswell. But one of the main attractions to Roswell is the downtown area. Of course, if you're thinking about moving to Roswell or any of the cities around Atlanta, feel free to call or text me, email me anytime. Thank you so much to everyone who has reached out. I'm always happy to help. But the downtown Roswell is right around the intersection of Highway 9 and Atlanta Street, and I believe Magnolia Street. Right there where all of these roads meet is kind of like the city center of Roswell, or the downtown Roswell area. And around there, you're going to find lots of shops and restaurants. It kind of has a historic feel to it, as Roswell has done a great job of preserving that history there in the downtown area. So a lot of the buildings look much older. It's not like the super new, pristine look of Alpharetta. It has much more of an older feel to it. And that's one of the things that many people who live in Roswell like about the downtown area. It still has that historic feel to it. A great example of that is Roswell Provisions. When you walk into Roswell Provisions, it's like you're walking on wood flooring from the early 1900s, and some of the furniture in there looks like it's 100 years old. You know, you can go get a coffee or a pastry there in Roswell Provisions. It's certainly one of my favorite shops there in the downtown Roswell area, and is a really good example of that kind of historic charm that you can find in downtown Roswell. And so Roswell, Georgia is certainly one of Atlanta's best suburbs. It's no wonder why so many people want to live there, with the suburban feel, the family-friendly environment. Also, there are lots of parks and green space there in Roswell, Georgia. So it's really a great place to live for many people who are wanting to live in the Metro Atlanta area. Now, while Roswell is certainly a great area and it's one of Atlanta's best suburbs, there are a few things about the city of Roswell that you should be aware of if you're thinking about moving to Roswell. Some of these things kind of make Roswell not look so good. And so if you're thinking about moving there, here are 4 things that you should be aware of before moving to Roswell, Georgia. First, the school districts there in Roswell are kind of hit or miss. If schools are a high priority for you and something that you're looking for when you're moving to a new city in Metro Atlanta, you should be aware that not all of the schools in Roswell have great ratings. For example, Sweet Apple Elementary School in Roswell is a 10 out of 10, but Vickery Mill Elementary School in Roswell is a 5 out of 10. Also, Roswell High School is an 8 out of 10, but Centennial High School is a 6 out of 10. So again, if you're thinking about moving to Roswell and the school ratings are really high on your priority list, you certainly need to be aware of what part of the city you're looking for. The way that the school districts and the zoning works in Roswell and many of the other suburbs around Atlanta is that each high school or each public school is designated for a specific area. So if you live in that area, whatever school is designated for that area or that neighborhood, that's the school that you go to. There's not really room for living in the Sweet Apple Elementary School district, but going to a different elementary school. Whatever school is associated with the area where you live, that's the school where your child or student is required to go to. The second thing that you should be aware of when it comes to living in Roswell, Georgia, is that the infrastructure in Roswell is not quite as good as some of the other suburbs around Roswell. For example, Alpharetta really puts a lot of money into their infrastructure there. So if you're in Alpharetta or if you see the videos about Alpharetta, it's really easy to notice that the streets and the sidewalks and the landscaping that the city takes care of looks pristine. It looks amazing. And it's one of the reasons why so many people are drawn to the city of Alpharetta. You don't really see above ground power lines in Alpharetta, whereas in Roswell, it is more common to see those above ground power lines that are kind of unsightly and people don't want to live near. And also the landscaping or the sidewalks don't seem to be as well kept in Roswell as they are in Alpharetta or Milton or Cumming. Roswell is kind of has some work to do, I think, when it comes to the infrastructure there. But another thing that you need to be aware of if you are thinking about moving to Roswell, Georgia, is that the home values in Roswell are a little bit less than the city of Alpharetta. The average home value in Alpharetta is $650,000, but the average home value in Roswell is $600,000. So you can certainly get more home for your money in Roswell than you can in Alpharetta. So very often what that means is that people who want to be very close to Alpharetta or have a lot of the amenities of Alpharetta, like being close to the Avalon or downtown Alpharetta, will oftentimes live outside of the city of Alpharetta in one of the cities like Roswell and still be super close to Alpharetta. And then another thing that you certainly need to be aware of if you're thinking about moving to Roswell is that the traffic in Roswell can get pretty bad. Especially like Highway 9 during rush hour on the way to Atlanta gets terrible. Highway 9 is like a one lane road, one lane in each direction, maybe two lanes, but it is just the worst during rush hour. The traffic there is terrible. And then also Highway 400, which is also goes through Roswell, gets pretty backed up as well during rush hour. And especially some of the side streets around Roswell, the traffic there can get pretty bad. There are a lot of people, again, 92,000 people living in the city of Roswell, and Roswell is not really a very big city area-wise. So it's really a lot of congestion for Roswell. So certainly something to think about if you want to live in Roswell. But of course, every city has its downsides and its good sides. And one of the best parts about living in Roswell is the amount of charm and character that you can find in the homes in Roswell, Georgia. So let's take a look at some of the homes in 3 neighborhoods of Roswell, Georgia. The first neighborhood we're going to take a look at is Burkdale at Crabapple. This neighborhood is off of Rucker Road in Roswell, and it's very close to lots of shopping and restaurants, and it's about 5 minutes to the nearest grocery store. About half of the homes in this neighborhood were built in 2021, 2022, and then the other half of the homes in this neighborhood were built around 2015. The square footage for most of the homes in Burkdale at Crabapple is about 3,400 square feet, and most of the homes are on a lot size of about 1/4 of an acre. The public schools that are associated with this neighborhood are Sweet Apple Elementary School, which is a 10 out of 10, Elkins Point Middle School, which is a 7 out of 10, and Milton High School, which is an 8 out of 10. And the average home value in this neighborhood is $800,000. And then this next neighborhood is Crabapple Park, which is right off of Crabapple Road, and most of the homes in this neighborhood were built in the mid-90s. The average size home in this neighborhood is between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet, and the average lot size is about 0.1 to 0.3 acres. The schools that are associated with this neighborhood are also Sweet Apple Elementary School, Elkins Point Middle School, and Milton High School, and the HOA in this neighborhood includes a pool and tennis courts. The average home value in Crabapple Park is 500 to 600,000. And this next neighborhood is the Brookfield Country Club. This one is off of King Road, kind of in the northwest part of Roswell. Most of the homes in this neighborhood were built in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Really a lot of variety in this neighborhood because it's so big. There are a ton of homes in this subdivision. Because there are so many homes in this neighborhood, the average size really varies quite a bit from 2,500 to about 5,000 square feet. And the typical lot size for this neighborhood is about 0.5 to 1 acre. The schools associated with Brookfield Country Club are Mountain Park Elementary School, Crabapple Middle School, and Roswell High School. And this neighborhood not only has an amazing HOA with pool and tennis, but also has a golf course as part of the community association. The average home value in the Brookfield Country Club is $650,000 to $850,000. Overall, the city of Roswell is certainly one of the best in all of Metro Atlanta. It has a great feel, and lots of people who live there love the downtown area, love the parks and the green space. And also there's a lot of families in Roswell, Georgia. Really, a lot of the people who move there are looking for those excellent school districts. And so it's very common to find a lot of families there, a lot of community in Roswell, Georgia. In addition to that, there's a lot more nature in the city of Roswell than some of the other suburbs. With Azalea Drive, which is right along the Chattahoochee River, you can find a lot of parks there, a lot of playgrounds, picnic areas there on Azalea Drive. Also, there's a sidewalk that goes along Azalea Drive, so lots of people walking and jogging along there as well, right along the Chattahoochee River. And then less than 5 minutes from downtown Roswell is a waterfall called the Vickery Creek Falls. There's also a bunch of hiking trails along there as well. And it's not really something that you would expect so close to downtown Roswell, but it's really just a mile or two from downtown Roswell. So Roswell really has a lot of things going for it. Excellent neighborhoods and a lot of the school districts and the parks and green space. And moving to a new city really can be super overwhelming. If you're thinking about moving to any of the Metro Atlanta areas and you're not sure where to start, this video is exactly about how to get started in the process of moving to Atlanta. I'll see you there.